This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Today on Rescue 911, a cornered cop.
Drop the knife, Rich.
Canine backup is called in.
Could just tell this was not going to be a good situation.
And man's best friend risks it all. Plus, a mechanic is crushed under a truck.
You find a pulse, and I couldn't find any breath.
I knew then that technically he was dead.
Now, the jaws of life are his only hope.
Doesn't look real good here.
On Rescue 911.
We begin just after midnight on March 8, 1993, in Modesto, California.
A woman had phoned stating that she was having a peace disturbance with her son and that he was possibly high on drugs and that he was acting violent.
Modesto police officer Rick Popp was the first on the scene.
Great. What do you want?
I discovered that he was in an agitated state, was screaming at me to leave. At that time, I saw an elderly woman waving her arms, saying, come in, in a very nervous, frightened voice.
Can I talk to you out here?
He said, I'm not talking to you anymore. Attempted to close the door, and at that time, I took it upon myself to confront him.
Get out!
At first, I couldn't tell what he had in his hand.
Get out of here!
Then I realized that he had a knife.
Drop the knife, Rich. Drop the knife, Rich.
He said, get out of my house, get out of my house.
Drop it.
And then he bolted and ran.
Backup officer Jim Sanders joined the pursuit.
I could see Officer Popp chasing the suspect down the roadway of the mobile home park. I radioed dispatch that we need additional officers, then began to chase the suspect in the patrol unit.
He held a knife out in front of him, threatening me.
Drop the knife,
and then he
Rich.
bolted back where he'd run from. As we were chasing him, I was becoming more concerned with the safety of anybody that he'd run across.
Drop it, now, drop it!
I got out of the patrol unit with my weapon drawn, yelling for him to stop, and also dropped a knife. At that point, I felt if he did not comply with our orders that I was going to have to use deadly force against this person.
When we continue,
I was thinking, all right, he's throwing the knife down, let's end it, send Duke. As Duke was running toward him, he turned and he still had the knife.
When Modesto police officers arrived at the scene of a domestic disturbance, the suspect threatened them with a knife before fleeing on foot. Additional backup units en route included canine officer Gene Ballantyne and his partner of 4.5 years, Duke.
All I knew was a guy was running, there was a knife involved, and I could hear a chase going on. I could just tell this was not going to be a good situation that we were going into. I was just very nervous. Whenever I get anxious and my adrenaline starts flowing, Duke feels that way also. We're together 24 hours a day, and because of that, you get this very close bond. He's my best friend, my partner, my confidant. I mean, I'll tell Duke things that I would never tell anyone else. I'd heard over the radio that the suspect with a knife had gone back into his mobile home and that we might have a hostage situation.
He has a knife in his hand. He's still inside the trailer. I don't know where he's at right now.
Duke, plus! Get out of here! Leave me alone!
He was out of control.
John!
I was thinking, should I send Duke? Should I do it now? And I just knew the guy's got this knife. Let's hold off. Let's just wait. I didn't think he had the knife anymore. So I was thinking, all right, he's throwing the knife down, let's end it, send Duke. As Duke was running toward him, he turned and he still had the knife. It was like my heart dropped. I thought, oh God. I called Duke off, and he stopped and turned around and laid down, which is what he was trained to do. I thought, we don't have a choice now because we've got his only exit block. It was a split-second decision on, do you use deadly force, do you shoot him, or do you send the dog?
I charged him and then physically restrained him, knocking the knife from his grip.
I could hear Duke kind of whimpering. He had gotten to the bottom of the stairs and he was just kind of laying on the sidewalk.
Duke! Buddy, you okay?
I went to grab Duke, and then my hand slid around the left side and I came up with just this handful of blood.
Okay, it'll be okay, bud.
And he kind of licked me in the face. It was like, God, he's telling me goodbye. I was thinking, man, I don't think we're gonna make it.
K-9 officer Ron Cloward had also responded to the call.
Ron, the dog's stabbed!
It was heart-wrenching, knowing that the dog had been stabbed, not knowing how serious it was. It could have been my dog, it could have been me in that situation.
Easy.
We know that our dogs are there to take the ultimate sacrifice so that an officer doesn't have to, but when it happens, it hurts deep down inside.
Some help out here, please!
We got the first aid kit out of the trunk of his car and started wrapping bandages around the area of where the wounds were at.
Good boy, I'm so proud of you.
At that point, I was just thinking this was probably the end.
There's an ambulance coming.
He was just laying there with his eyes open, and it was so sad. I picked him up. I said, no, we're not waiting for anybody. Let's go now.
Duke was rushed to Modesto's veterinary emergency clinic in critical condition.
I was just like, do something fast. They were trying to figure out how many times he'd been stabbed, where he'd been stabbed. We just knew that he was bleeding a lot and he wasn't making any moves at all. Well, it's a pretty decent wound.
2 deep stab wounds had punctured Duke's chest, cutting through lung tissue and major blood vessels.
It was like he didn't even see me there. And that was the first time I'd ever experienced him not even realizing I was there.
See how bad he's bleeding. It may not have changed yet, but let's take a look at it.
Although Duke was stabilized, after 2 days, his condition had deteriorated so much he was transferred to UC Davis Veterinary Medical Teaching Hospital and put under the care of Dr. Janet Aldridge.
He developed difficulty with breathing and he was becoming very anemic. In my opinion, he was very likely to die within the next 12 hours.
Well, I was watching because he was
Although Duke was on medication and in an oxygen cage, his condition was not improving.
He was alert and not resting until Jean was in the room. I could see by monitoring devices that when Jean was with him, the dog was more relaxed. His blood pressure dropped, and that he went to sleep.
better and better, Jean. That's amazing.
So we invited Jean to be hospitalized with him.
For the next 7 days, Jean never left Duke and even slept in his cage with him.
We've relied on each other through our whole career. He relies on me for his safety. I rely on him for my safety. And here he had just done this for me, and it was real important for me to try and do something to help him.
This says, to Duke, get well soon. You're a hero. We love you.
The community support was amazing.
It says, I hope to
every day another box would come, and it would be just full of mail for Duke. There were get well cards from people that had drawn pictures and said, get well, Duke, we love you, come back home. And I read every single one to him. It kept me going, and I think that kept Duke going too.
2 weeks after the stabbing, Gene got his 30th birthday wish. Duke was finally well enough to go home.
All of the nurses and doctors from the hospital were there. And we just had a huge party. They gave Duke a little diploma for being an outstanding patient in ICU. It was neat. It was a real neat thing.
Again, that's Corporal Ballantyne and the Modesto Police Department and that dog Duke. Duke is retired now, I hear, and enjoying a life of leisure at home, but his boss still has to work.
Duke's become kind of a local hero. He hates retired life. Lays around the house now and does nothing but just get fat and think about poodles, but right now he's doing excellent.
Thank you very much.
The suspect who stabbed Duke was subsequently found guilty of multiple felony charges and sentenced to 11 years in jail.
Just to see a happy Duke again and to see everybody giving him all this attention and all the support, I'm like a proud papa. That's my boy, he done fine. He did a good job. He saved a life that night, and I think he deserves all the attention that he can get.
Corporal Ballantyne, thank you very much. Thank you, Duke. We want that to go in his trophy case. We heard he's got quite a bunch of trophies.
Next.
The emergency brake was on, it was in park, and nobody thought to block it or anything.
Just 3 days after Christmas in 1992, John Bricky and his wife Carrie were hosting a family gathering at their home in Eatonville, Washington, to celebrate the holiday a little late. John had surprised his father, John Sr., with a very special gift.
All right, guys, let's go about now.
What he had given me was a hat. And there were keys in the hat. And out in his garage that was shut was a pickup. And it was mine.
Bring it on up.
The transmission leaked in it. And it was leaking real bad.
Is that pretty close there? Bring it on up, okay?
John was planning to fix the truck before his father drove it home.
That look pretty good? Right.
Johnny's mechanic. He'd been a mechanic for about 8 years.
Yeah, it's high enough now. Let's see if I should be able to get to the linkage here.
The emergency brake was on, it was in park, and nobody thought to block it or anything.
There's the linkage here. I'll get situated around here and we'll see what else we need to get this thing fixed and all ready to go. There we go. Pry this loose, maybe we can take this thing out and get this linkage off of here. We can get it going good.
Oh, yeah, I should be able to get that. I just stepped back from the pickup, and it does seem like I heard a click. I could see that it was smashing. Johnny, I couldn't find a pulse, and I couldn't find any breath. I just lost it.
John's wife, Carrie, was inside with his mother and younger sister.
And he's like, John's stuck. And I was like, he's stuck? Well, okay. And I was thinking his foot was stuck.
Let's go. Let's see what's going on.
And I just saw his feet were hanging out from under the truck. It was not a natural position for any human being. I was sure he had broken his back, and I was like, oh my God, he's never going to walk again if he lives through this.
Fire and medical aid? Yes, we have a medical emergency. A truck rolled on top of my husband.
Okay, is he still under the truck?
Under the truck. He's stuck underneath it. It was up on jacks and the jacks.
Okay, what part of him is stuck underneath of it?
His back.
Lakewood Fire Dispatcher Patty Heimsness took the call.
She sounded real calm. I didn't think it was a great big emergency because she was so calm.
Okay, my partner's going to start help now. I'm going to stay on the line until we find out if he's conscious and breathing.
Okay. No, he's not conscious.
Okay, I need to know if he's breathing.
You can do it. You can do it.
I had to be strong enough to get the things done that had to be done to make sure we were giving John every possible chance he had.
You can do it. They're on their way.
I felt guilty as hell. Harry went and bought this pickup for me. My pickup. I thought, why did this happen?
He's not breathing. He's not breathing. Okay, listen to me. Listen to me.
When they said he didn't have a pulse and he wasn't breathing, I knew then that technically he was dead. I mean, that's my big brother out there, and no heartbeat, not breathing.
Pierce County volunteer firefighter Captain John Christian was paged from his home just up the street.
Put my fingers right on his neck, and there was nothing. I kept feeling around. I thought, well, maybe I missed it. And there was nothing there. Then I got a little nervous, because there he was. There he was. You can't, there's nothing I can do.
We have help coming. Okay. We don't want you to get hurt too, okay?
I don't care how much adrenaline you got. It's hard to move a 4,000 or 5,000 pound truck by hand.
It was everything flashed in front of me that, no, this isn't good. This isn't happening. Johnny shouldn't be underneath this pickup because he knows he should have had it blocked, and he didn't have it blocked.
Within 3 minutes of the call, rescue units arrived with the jaws of life. When rescuers finally freed John, he'd been pinned under the pickup for more than 6 minutes.
I don't have any respirations either.
I remember looking at his face, and it was just completely purple, and looking at him knowing this is not my husband and he's dead. And like, gosh, we haven't had kids, and so I can't tell a kid about how neat he was. No one's gonna know that.
We know a downtime.
Battalion Chief Larry Spawn was among those treating John.
Let's check him. I don't got anything. Check the pulse.
Basically, this person is dead. They're not breathing, and their heart's not beating, so they're clinically dead. I'm thinking that I have to turn around and tell the family that, it doesn't look real good here. That's scary to me.
At one point, I thought, if he's going to be in severe pain forever, if he wakes up, don't make him wake up.
Stop the pressions.
Knowing that he wouldn't love life.
I don't got anything. Check the pulse. No pulse.
I knew, just looking at this person that was dead, that he should stay that way rather than have people take care of him for the rest of his life, because he would be miserable, even though he'd try to fake it maybe. But I knew that he and I would both know that he was miserable, because he would share that with me.
I think I feel a heart. I've got a pulse. Pulse? I think I've got a pulse. What do you got? Clearance. We got something. Get a heart back. One more time.
It seemed like they had just started CPR to me when he said, I got a pulse. Like he didn't believe it himself.
24-year-old John Brickey was admitted to Madigan Army Medical Center in a deep coma.
Stable right now.
I started going through things like, is he going to remember us? Because I knew that he had not had blood circulating through his body, so I didn't know if he was going to have brain damage.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thanks. Well, you're looking better than earlier. I was just talking to him because I heard somewhere where if you talk to people and encourage them, it helps them get better faster. I'll keep you okay. I'm taking care of you. Hang in there, John. And I noticed the monitor, every time I would talk to him, his heart rate would go up. Let go now. I'm wearing your wedding ring. I just started crying. I was like, gosh, he knows who I am when I'm talking to him, even though he can't talk to me.
Within 3 days, John came out of the coma, to the amazement of his doctor, Lawrence Levine.
He woke up almost like throwing a switch. There did not appear to be any obvious spinal cord damage, any obvious brain damage. It's as if he went to sleep for a prolonged period of time and woke up and says, hello, I'm here, I'm back.
Another one?
More than a year has passed since the incident.
There's no brain damage at all. It's really, really amazing. The only thing that he doesn't remember that day, but that's the day I just soon forget too. I remember walking in.
I didn't chalk the wheels, which, being a mechanic and that, I should have known better.
You weren't even awake.
I learned that the little things can really cost you if you're not cautious.
What do you say, Squash?
Hi, Kevin. Hi, how are you guys doing?
Let's stop the meeting for a minute.
We had the association meeting. John was here, and he thanked the volunteers for doing what they had done.
Okay.
Choked a few of us up.
How you doing? Good, Larry. How are you?
We get cards and letters from family members all the time, but this was different. This was the actual patient who wanted to express his gratification for what we had done.
John subsequently joined the Pierce County Volunteer Rescue Squad.
He wants to do things for other people, and he isn't so self-centered that he's got to have everything for him. He's just one of my special kids. You know, he's special. It'd be awful hard to do without him.
How you doing? Good pizza?
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Shapiro, step out of the car, please.